I'm late with this because I had to go get my food and I didn't even get a chance to eat it. I almost forgot was going to do this live stream. And then I said, I think I really want to touch this topic. It was 100% freestyle. So I want these brothers to talk while I put some food in my mouth and my belly. And like I said, I want this brother to introduce this whole piece right here and introduce himself to you. Once again, white people got your back? Huh? Do they?
100 frustrating years after the Emancipation. 100 frustrating years after the Emancipation Proclamation, the Negro community has arrived at a decision to celebrate this centennial in an all-out effort to achieve full rights now.
You're watching a live national television show that was broadcast in the spring of 1963. It's more than 60 years old, and yet I feel it's so relevant to issues we face in the United States today. It's also amazing because of the eloquence of these 5 American black leaders who are about to discuss the state of the American Negro. I'm David Hoffman, filmmaker. I didn't shoot this, but I was a college senior and I was watching this show on television with my parents, and what I saw affected me, and it made me decide to go down to Washington and attend a march on Washington that summer. It also got me to make my first documentary, which is posted on my channel, from 1963, about migrant workers in Riverhead, Long Island, near where I live. So look, before I run this amazing show, I got to tell you a little bit of background, which I think will matter to you. It was the spring of 1963. President Kennedy is exciting the nation with the feeling that all kinds of new things are going to happen and America is going to be great. It's also 100 years after the Congress passed the Emancipation Proclamation, which freed the slaves. There was new and bold legislation before Congress. And it was exciting legislation because it had to do with voting rights, giving Negroes, as they said at the time, the right to vote and making certain that they could vote. To support this legislation, the 5 major Negro organizations in America announced that they were going to have this march in Washington to support the legislation. The issue of civil rights in America had been fomenting for several years. 1960-61, black students in the South began to protest by sitting in at lunch counters. Martin Luther King in the late 1950s had had his bus boycott, and the march in Birmingham, and other things were happening around the country that those of us in the North, people like me, were watching, very sympathetic to what the students were trying to do, get people to vote. So National Educational Television, the forerunner of PBS, decided to do this live show with 5 Negro leaders, the top guys, talking about what they hoped would happen at this march. It's prophetic. What they're saying so long ago is so relevant to what people are saying and thinking and troubled by today. There was Roy Wilkins, the head of the NAACP. There was Whitney Young Jr., the head of the Urban League. There was James Farmer, the head of the Congress on Racial Equality, CORE. There was James Foreman, the head of SNCC, who had been training students in Mississippi to attempt to register voters. I knew young people who were attending these training sessions who went south, and I thought they were heroes. This was scary stuff. And there was the Reverend Martin Luther King, the head of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference. The host was Dr. Kenneth Clark, a professor at New York City University. So much of this is relevant, as I said, and I'm going to post a link in the description to the film I made as a result of seeing this program.
Gentlemen, I certainly want to thank you for taking time out of a terribly busy schedule.
Now, I'm going to go and look that film up. We're going to look it up. You can look it up on your own. I'm going to look it up. I'm going to review it, and we're going to stay posting as well. One key thing, he's from Long Island. Okay? Long Island. in the 60s. He's from Long Island, New York, the North. And it was crazy. Like I said, he said he looked at his peers as being heroes. Those white people going out. The white people, the white allies was looking at their peers who was joining this movement as being heroes. Like he said, he was in college, he was young. They studying this. Although you had a generation of people that was raised in it of hate, there was also a generation of people that was raised in it with a higher power of love within them, and compassion, concern. Also, what it is to this very day still, we spotlight. You understand what I'm saying? So as it was then, it is now. We still spotlight. 1863, we spotlight. 1963, we spotlight. 2023, we spotlight, folks. We spotlight. It's no problem. It's okay. It's okay. So now that we spotlight, we must embrace the moment, shake off all the nervousness, shake off all the negative energy, shake off all the unnecessary anchors that hold you back, and it's time to shine. Because, ladies and gentlemen, so many people have our back. They've been had our back. It's just that they want you to be focused on the hate. They want organizations to be front line to promote hate, to distract us from what we have to progress. So if we, as long as we can focus on what they want you to focus on, which is hate, it will keep you, because that's back, because that's the anchor. It will hold you back. So as we move forward in our movements in the next 60 years, this ain't no kumbaya shit neither, all right, folks? Hold on, let me show my face with this. This ain't no kumbaya. This is me letting you know that through these eyes, I realize that we have every piece of the puzzle in front of us. It's now time for us just to put it together. There's no missing links. We have all the tools that we need to move forward. We have all the manpower, when I say man, all the human power that's needed. We have all the love. No, I take that back. The one thing that's missing is all the love. And that's the fuel, that's the gasoline, that's the petroleum. That's the petrol. The love is the petrol that's going to get this moving. Not the hate. The hate would just generate a blob of haters, and the blob of haters at the very end of whatever mission that we accomplish, we just tear it down. But once we can move with that superhuman power of love, because love is actually superhuman power. Everyone's not blessed with that ability to love. It's a superhuman power. Is like he said, he looked at them as being heroes. That type of love, to go down in the dirty, dirty South, to join these Negroes in the 60s. Whoa. And y'all made it back? What's your stories? How are they? What type of people are they? What's the South like? There was no internet. The concerns of the North or the South was a little different. That's why to this very day is a certain type of hatred that the South have for the North. Sorry. The South have a certain type of hatred for the because of the last 60 years, because of the last 100 years, because of our neglect to realize that our issues is not just about our boroughs, not just about our cities, not just about our state. It's a worldwide issue. And the more concern and love that we have and the compassion that we have for others that we don't even know, the stronger we will grow. That's the lesson. So go back to the question and answer. White people have your back. Let's investigate, and we're going to find out in this live. Because when we move for what we need, we're going to make sure that we have all the tools. And I'm going to use a word. I'm going to use a word. I'm going to use this word, okay? The word, and I'm going to use poem. And poems are beautiful. One of the most beautiful pieces on the board. You can sacrifice them, and then you also want to keep them. You can sacrifice them, but you do want to keep them because they keep the area blocked up, which you need. And we need some pawns to be able to put out to hold the fort down. Pawns on all different levels, all different colors. Some pawns we got turned into kings and queens, but we need these pawns because these pawns gonna make everything happen. Slew, what it do? How are you? Peace, Vici. I'm glad to see you back. Always glad to see you people in the chat. What? I didn't even come out right. Not on mute. That's mute. That's off mute. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Somebody let me know something. Can you hear me? I hope you can.
To talk with us this evening.
Show to support
I'll
this
go back, 'cause I want this
uniting the nation that on my channel United States today. It's also amazing because of the eloquence of these 5 American black leaders who are about to discuss the state of the American Negro. I'm David Hoffman, filmmaker. I didn't shoot this, but I was a college senior and I was watching this show on television with my parents. And what I saw affected me, and it made me decide to go down to Washington and attend the March on Washington that summer. It also got me to make my first documentary, which is posted on my channel, from 1963, about migrant workers in Riverhead, Long Island, near where I live. So look, before I run this amazing show,
You hear me?
I got to tell you a little bit of background, which I think will matter to you. It was the spring of 1963. President Kennedy is exciting the nation with the feeling that all kinds of new things are going to happen and America is going to be great. It's also 100 years after the Congress passed the Emancipation Proclamation,
I just wanted
which
to
freed
rewind
the
it for
slaves.
anyone.
There was new and bold legislation before Congress, and it was exciting legislation because it had to do with voting rights, giving Negroes, as they said at the time, the right to vote and making certain that they could vote. To support this legislation, the 5 major Negro organizations in America announced that they were going to have this march in Washington to support the legislation. The issue of civil rights in America had been fomenting for several years. 1960-61, black students in the South began to protest by sitting in at lunch counters. Martin Luther King in the late 1950s had had his bus boycott and the march in Birmingham, and other things were happening around the country that those of us in the North, people like me, were watching, very sympathetic to what the students were trying to do, get people to vote. So National Educational Television, the forerunner of PBS, decided to do this live show with 5 Negro leaders, the top guys, talking about what they hoped would happen at this march. It's prophetic. What they're saying so long ago is so relevant to what people are saying and thinking and troubled by today. There was Roy Wilkins, the head of the NAACP. There was Whitney Young Jr., the head of the Urban League. There was James Farmer, the head of the Congress on Racial Equality, CORE. There was James Foreman, the head of SNCC, who had been training students in Mississippi to attempt to register voters. I knew young people who were attending these training sessions who went south, and I thought they were heroes. This was scary stuff. And there was the Reverend Martin Luther King, the head of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference. The host was Dr. Kenneth Clark, a professor at New York's City University. So much of this is relevant, as I said, and I'm going to post a link in the description to the film I made as a result of seeing this program.
Gentlemen, I certainly want to thank you for taking time out of a terribly busy schedule to talk with us this evening. I know that the entire country, and certainly the President of the United States and the Congressman, would like to know about the plans for a march on Washington. Mr. Wilkins, would you like to tell us what are the plans as of this date?
The plan is for a huge march to the Lincoln Memorial and a meeting there. On the way, what was described as a brief demonstration at the White House. But we hope to have this an outpouring of expression on the part of the people who wish Congress and the nation to know how they feel, how very deeply they feel about civil rights legislation. I think it's fair to say, wouldn't you say, Martin, that this is no attempt to blackjack anybody? We want to show how we feel.
Exactly. We are not going to Washington to intimidate any congressman or any senator. It will give a large number of people an opportunity to articulate their longings and aspirations for freedom, their desire to see meaningful, forthright civil rights legislation in this session of Congress. And of course, we also intend to arouse the conscience of the nation over the economic plight of the Negro 100 years after emancipation. And I think it can have a great impact. I think it will dramatize the issue. It will have educational value in that it will allow many people to see and understand the continued indignities and injustices which Negroes confront all over the nation.
All over the country. It has captured the imagination of hundreds of thousands of people. Now, we don't know how many of them will be marching to Washington, but a goodly number will. They feel keenly about this, and they want the seat of government. They want the American conscience to know how they feel.
You're aware that the President has cautioned that he would just as soon have the march postponed or not occur.
We see this as an all-inclusive demonstration of our belief in the President's program, and since it has been declared to be an orderly demonstration with a rally, at which time I hope to be one of the people who will speak in the interest of the Urban League toward preparing people for the new opportunities at this level, we will be cooperating.
And I think it's important that the march go off because there is legislation which many people have gone to jail for the substance. That is, the lunch counter demonstrations throughout the South have to be sort of brought to some climax, and it could be done in this public accommodations bill, which is before the Congress. Then, of course, it just left the Delta and a lot of poor people over there, people who make $2.25 a day for 12 hours of work. And so some legislation has to come out of the Congress of the United States to deal with these problems.
People like Agnes Myers, Roy, president of the board of the NAACP, and other white liberals and friends have cautioned against having a major demonstration for civil rights this summer. How do you...
Well, it's our position in the NAACP that the opponents of civil rights legislation left no doubt as soon as the president spoke. In fact, they didn't wait for him to speak. They began announcing their opposition and what they intended to do. They were going to filibuster. They were going to hold up appropriation measures. They were talking, scaring the country that they weren't going to get a tax cut on account of civil rights. They're doing all the boogeyman stunts. And if they're going to use Washington as their base of operations for opposition to this bill, we don't see anything wrong with using Washington as our base to indicate support for this bill. And in my estimation, this march is going to be a 100% outpouring of the disgust and distress of Black Americans and white liberals over the way the Congress has handled this bill.
I think that in any such demonstration as the
Sorry, folks. Eating rice. And I wanted to make a point. I'm going to try to swallow it, try and make a point. All right. This roundtable discussion of what some people will say, all these coons, some people will say, all these eloquent gentlemen, some people will say these legends. But as we just sit here and we just listen to these gentlemen speak, oh, they might say, oh, these sellouts. Yeah, that's another word. Sellouts. As we sit and listen to these men talk, that was Roy Wilkinson speaking. Shout out to Roy Wilkins out in South Jamaica, Queens. We got Roy Wilkins Center, 50 some acres of land space. Excuse me. That's what I was waiting to come up. Now I can speak. 54 acres of land. They do many events at the park. And as I just listened to him speak, he said that it's going to be used. He said, you best believe it's going to be a march of distress, frustration. Ain't going to be no cooning shit. Ain't going to be no bullshit. It's going to be real. These men's hearts was 100% in their words. Their hearts was there. But no movement is going to be able to move without certain things. And certain things can also make movement stop because it can buy you out. Now, the behind scenes of the selling out, that's not my focus because that's the hate they want you to focus on. See? Wow, going back to the beginning intro. Like I said, this is a freestyle, folks. I have no clue where I'm going with this shit. I'm a puppet. I'm just speaking. I'm a puppet. I'm not even speaking. You're not even listening to me. That's why you don't even see me right now. It's not me. That was back then in the 60s. That was the hate of confusion that was needed to stagnate the anger of frustration for the real enemy. So we're going to get the people to get confused because they're going to hate themselves because they're going to be thinking that we're not for the people. But we are for the people, but you're not for the people. And so that stagnation right there, that division allows the one who's in control to continue to move forward while leaving you behind in that hate. I say all that because as I'm just using this clip, because I've seen this clip and I'll just say, hey, let me watch this clip with the people. But as I'm watching this clip with the people, I want us to have an open mind, like what I'm saying to you right now. We must erase the hate in order for us to be great. So all the divisional hate that we had from all the past years for these men that sat the table, those men who was part of that civil rights movement, those men who spoke nonviolence. If we would have sat and saw the greatness of every degree that we had at that time, is no different than now. So as opposed to hating on every single thing, now, damn. Why am I, like I said, I'm a puppet, so I gotta keep talking. So instead of us hating on everything all the time, we must see the greatness of what we have. Okay, I gotta say this, I gotta bring it in. Curveball. Even with this buffoon, and I told you from the beginning though, so it's not like I'm really saying anything different. Even from the beginning, with this buffoon who go to court in less than 2 weeks with me, who done made himself a mockery for no reason, we must see the greatness in that buffoon. For example, Lennon Honor. He definitely see the greatness in that buffoon. He saw the greatness in that buffoon and ran, and he got a good, comfortable lifestyle because of that buffoon. So he respects that man. Had to catch myself. Sorry, folks. It's entertainment. Had to catch myself though. So he respects that man so much because that man brought in revenue for him. So we must be able to appreciate whatever greatness that we have as opposed to hate on whatever success that we could have had. And what's great about it? It's not, it don't have to be nothing great. We just have to find the greatness of. Because it's all we got right now. Until other troops start popping up. But we got to see what's moving and get it to become an oar on the overall ship, the boat. And we got to get it going. These gentlemen, they come to the table, they spoke, they speaking, they talking, and they have a mission. And the mission is to say what he's just, I'm gonna rewind it for you. I had to pause because I was going to rewind. I'm gonna rewind it for you because they had a mission. And as the mission was then, the mission still damn is now. That's sad. Are we still handling and doing the same old tactics? Old tactics sometimes you gotta continue with until you really come up with the right other move. And so let's hear what he said about this tactic, because he explained this tactic right here. Roy Wilkins. That's why I paused, because I think he kind of explained the tactic right there. Whether you looking as a sellout, a coon, a clown, or a joke. Let's see what you guys say again.
March, which is
Nation. And if they're going to use Washington as their base of operations for opposition to this bill, we don't see anything wrong with using Washington as our base to indicate support for this bill. And
He said, if the enemy don't see no reason of not using Washington and they using it, we don't see no reason of not using Washington to use for us. And if Washington don't work for us, we're going to demand and demand and demand and demand, and we're going to bring a spotlight to why Washington's not working for us. But if you don't bring that spotlight to it, it won't shine on you. And that's the whole moral of what I get. As long as you allow the enemy to use something and they getting all the spotlight and they getting all the payments of it, if you don't go and use it, you ain't gonna get nothing. And it's gonna be used against you. So sometimes you gotta sneak attack and you gotta turn that shit around and like, oh shit. Excuse my language, but you gotta turn that energy around on the same ones that's using against you so it can get a taste of its own medicine. It's like when you watch those cartoons and the enemy, he shoots his little ray gun and they turn the little glass and deflects it and hits him. That's what we gotta do. Because that's a tactic. See, this is war. There's many tactics we gotta use. And it's why everything, and remember the show 24 with Jack Bauer? You got all this stuff that's going on, and then you got Jack Bauer on the low doing his flow. You remember James Bond, 007? You got all this stuff going on in the world, then you still got James Bond doing his thing. You got everything that's going to be going on. We must utilize all avenues. And it's how we are using these avenues for the slow ones. For all the retards. Fuck that. I like using that word. Retards. All your retards. All your retards. All your retards. All the retards. So for the retards who don't get it, we must use all tactics and avenues right now. I mean, maybe not all, but we must use most of the tactics and avenues that we have in order for us to get our success by any means necessary. Like he says, the ballot or the bullet. It's always that. But right now, it has to be the bullet ballot. So meaning that we have to bring our bullets to the ballot box. You diggy? See, let's reverse that ballot or the bullet. And let's just say it's the bullet in the ballot. So we bring in our guns. We bring all heavy artillery, meaning that we bring in it all. Understand? We bring all the big guns. We bring organized votes along with our guns. See, I'm using it as a metaphor and also I'm using it literally. Metaphor and seriously. Okay? Seriously. Because in this mission right here, reparations is a tactic, an avenue that we must play with as well, folks. And once we can get it in our thick skulls, then we understand that all doors going to open up. Because when your little kids say, instead of when they're saying of reparations, ho, of reparations, ho, ho, of reparations, when that's the new chant. Boom, 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 boom. You know what I'm saying? Reparations. Oh, you know, when your DJs is playing reparations, when everything now is spinning reparations. When everyone's just spitting, just because the challenge is to get 5 million people to say reparations. Twitter, we want 5 million people to Twitter reparations. We want 5 people to Instagram them holding the word reparations. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, once we just play with it, that's bringing out big guns, folks. And I'm really talking about play with it. When you as a parent, you send your kids to school, and we all send our kids to school to ask what's the reparations, and ask their white teacher, do you think that we deserve it? When we start using all the pawns, our children, like why saying you have these PTA meetings, why are we not organizing as parents and having our children ask certain questions? Send them a list of questions to ask their teachers. Let them get in trouble. You sent them on that mission. That was a special op mission. And that should be organized through the church. Catch me once again, but so I'm torn. That should be organized through the church. We need these children going to school asking these questions. My hand is up. I have a question. This is history class. Now I know you kids are already bad, and I already know you already do it. You guys don't know, but quiet cut. Your kids are already doing this shit. And the reason why your kids are doing it, because they have these phones in their hand. They have these phones in their hands. And they Googling stuff, they YouTube and stuff, they seeing all this stuff. So they're already asking questions on their own. They're getting in trouble in school because of the questions they're already asking. You guys just don't know. When you get the call, you just hear that they were disrupting the class. They're not going to go into the full details of how and why, because they had a question. So it's okay. It's okay. It's okay to organize the questions now. It's okay to get involved with the schools. It's okay to start questioning and demanding answers from your system. Why? Because my answer, which is my question, white people have your back. They do. More than you think. Okay? They have your back more than you think. And once you can understand that, then you know how to use the pieces to get what we need. And like Roy Wilkins said, if they're going to use Washington, we must use Washington. Because if they use Washington and we don't use Washington, they have so much more up on us. It's just that simple. So the movement is, how are we going to utilize Washington? Now you have people who had speak earlier, and he said, I think I still have it up. Yep, I do. So let me just pull that up. And then I'm gonna switch over to that. Let me drop this real quick. Let me pull this up, because for those people who might not seen earlier, I had this right here. I'm gonna share this right here. I waited all day to eat that food. Hope they don't come to the commercial.
These women know just as much as us. In the last 6 years I've been out here fighting in the streets, they've been a lot harder than us. Because we've been in wars, okay? Say what you want about what I used to be a part of, but we was in wars. We was in Charlottesville fighting them crackers hand to hand. We was in Minnesota getting it popping. True supporters came through New York. We shut them down and got arrested for it. And counterterrorism came to my jail cell. Don't play with me. Don't play with me, because it ain't nothing soft about this. This is a sucker-free movement. When you see these moves, when you see these wolves, you know we coming with strength and power and not a damn to give about anybody standing in our way. So we set our eyes on reparations. Best believe we gonna get there. Best believe we gonna get there. We ain't just gonna march around for a couple of weeks, march around for a couple of years, and then go back to our business like it's a fad. No, we've been in the streets every day, every week, every month for the last 6 years. Black first, every time. Black first, every time. Feeding our people all the time. Teaching our people all the time in the streets. So now we sitting back and we looking at how people used and abused our movements. This last movement, it wasn't the only one abused. They co-opted the civil rights movement. They co-opted all the other movements. They had COINTELPRO. So when we sit back and look like, okay, what direction we're going in, it's always liberation. But Brother Rashad had a long conversation with me about reparations. So when we go out in the streets, when the cop killed one of us, we're going to say justice and reparations. When them slumlords got our people living in insane, heinous conditions, deplorable conditions, we're going to say better housing and reparations.
Calm the hell out. All right, folks. Real talk. I didn't see this part. And earlier when I was watching it, there was a part I was trying to get to, but I just heard him talking, so I said, let me play this part. But I'm saying the same thing. In my last live, I said like this. That should be a conversation. In this live, I said the same thing. When you have people who never meet saying the same thing, it is what it is. Black man get killed in the street by the police. You say his name, say her name, and you say reparations. That's the movement. I'm telling you. That's the word. Reparations. Oh. Reparations. Oh. No, I'm dead serious. I'm being dead serious. I ain't saying like dancing and play. I'm saying like that's got to be the thing. Let this brother speak. I'm sorry, dude.
My brother Bismarck is a street. So when we sit back and look like, okay, what direction we're going in, it's always liberation. But Brother Rashad had a long conversation with me about reparations. So when we go out in the streets, when the cop killed one of us, we're going to say justice and reparations. When them slumlords got our people living in insane, heinous conditions, deplorable conditions, we're going to say better housing and reparations. My brother Bismarck is a pioneer for women's maternal health, black women's maternal health. You saw his documentary on Hulu. You saw him fighting for his deceased wife, for his love, for his kid. When we gonna say black women's maternal health, we gonna say and reparations. We gonna keep reparations as a running motherfucking thing. I ain't out here to street talk. I got a business degree, I got a law degree, but I'm a nigga. I'm a nigga who don't care about this system. So when you come upon me, you gonna get this energy every time. And I ain't sugarcoating it. I don't have time to sugarcoat it.
like I said, folks, earlier I did a live stream. Earlier today, this morning, I was watching this. I couldn't watch it because I kept falling asleep. I was watching like 3, 4 in the morning. So I said I'm gonna do a live on it. I'm not just grabbing any parts and I just chose it. But I chose to look at the women and hear what they were saying because I did a live earlier with the women. I didn't get a chance to hear this dude speak. He spoke right before the woman who spoke. I heard the last bit of his speech. All this I ain't hear. That's masculine energy. That's testosterone. That's what God is right there. That's what you feel. Masculine energy. Testosterone. Not sugar-coated. It's powerful. When we sugarcoat masculine energy and testosterone, that's what you get this generation of boys now. It's sugar-coated masculine energy. Sugar-coated masculine energy. Sugar, fruity, sugar-coated masculine energy. When you take away the sugar coating and just allow it to be masculine energy, sorry you catch me once again, but that's what it is. And when you see masculine energy don't give a fuck. Masculine energy slips and curses in the motherfucker. Why? Because you gotta understand where it's coming from. It's not because it's ignorant. It's because, yo, this is what it is right now. I'm turned up. Masculine energy still can talk on a level where they let you know and not cursing. But masculine energy is what it's going to be. And once our beautiful women can love, respect, and know how to handle masculine energy, it's being the palm of her hand. And when she has masculine energy, that's boom, boom, boom. Use it as her weapon. And many women know that. That's why so many men are dead. That's why we as men have to get our minds right. That's why Black Men Rise for reparations to save our communities is important. Because we've been using our masculine energy to destroy one another. But we haven't turned this masculine energy, and with us being in our women's hands and pointing at the enemy and shooting at the enemy and blasting them up. Boom, boom, like a video game. Boom. Let me hear what my dude's still cooking. He's cooking some shit. And so I ain't finished listening to it. So we're gonna listen to this together. We're gonna flip back over and have another one because, like I said, it's about.
Let me explain something to y'all. I ain't talking about nothing but the last 6 years right here. Everything has been top down. If you're serious about this reparations movement, it has to be bottom up. It got to be bottom up. I really, the activism don't mean shit to me if you ain't in the streets.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm talking to black people. I ain't talking to nobody else. I'm talking to my people.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not standing on the corner in your hood, teaching about reparations, fighting for your reparations, I don't care what you're doing. I don't care if you're on Twitter, if you're in Twitter groups, and everybody here is this and that. I do not care. I'm in the streets. I'm in the slums with those who are looked down upon, just like my Lord and Savior, Black Jesus. I'm with the people. I'm down there with them, elevating them. So if you're talking about reparations, it got to be a street movement. It ain't a social media movement. It ain't a spin all day in a goddamn Twitter chat movement. No, nigga. Go get you some groceries, get you some information, print it out, get on the corner, and teach your people. And you'll be surprised when you're out there teaching them, they're going to come to you with their problems. You are smart and educated. You know how to solve those problems. Help them. Organize them. Stop playing around. So I tell you what. They just killed a freedman. His name is Jaheim McMillan. They shot that little brother in the head, a 15-year-old baby in Gulfport, Mississippi. So November 15th, we taking about 500 guns and we going to march on that precinct. And the call gonna be justice operations. The question gonna be is you gonna be sitting back chilling on the front line, ready for whatever the fuck happens. Put our lives on this. Put my life on this. And I'm out after this. We get investigated. We get followed. Yeah, that's cool. But how many of us had the sitting president point at them and say, you're guilty of treason, sedition, and insurrection? We did. We did. We did. They was coming for us to put us in Guantanamo Bay. Why? Because we said if we don't get what we want, we will burn this country down. And said it on their cracker-ass news network and said it with a straight face and a strong chest. The time for games is over. The time for games is over. I know I said that was my last point. I got one more. See that reparations, no vote thing? I mean that shit. No reparations, I ain't vote. No reparations, yeah, I hold it up. Let me see that. I'll hold it up. Really. Yeah. Reparations, no vote. Right? That's what we talking about. 6 years ago, we said, you know what? If the Democrats don't meet our wishes, we'll give the country to Donald Trump. And you know what? A lot of people hated Donald Trump, but I loved him for the headaches he gave white liberals. White liberals who really don't care about us. I can't stand the Republicans, but I'd rather an enemy that I know they're my enemy than an enemy that pretends to be my friends and give me nothing in return. So when I say no reparations, no vote, it's not ignorant. I am college and law school educated. I have 15 years political consulting experience. Fuck them. We carry them. Our vote is our currency, and you are giving them your currency for nothing. For nothing. You run and vote, and you shuck and you job. Oh, I'm a revolutionary. I ain't shucking and jobbing. If you voted for Joe Biden with no good reason on that day in November, you was a shucking and jobbing ass nigga. And that's on everything holy. So yeah, we have something. We have our own caucus. We ran candidates. Everybody ran on the panel. We got into a fight with the mayor of New York and told everybody he was a coon before he even set foot in office. We about this life for real. When you see them wolves, when you see that black opportunities, no, it ain't that thing you seen before. No, it's a bunch of real ones who are putting their lives on the line for you, who are feeding you, who have a Montessori school where they give your kids a $50,000 education for free every day. Ain't nobody playing, man. Ain't nobody posturing. It's the real deal. Cut the check. Some say no to the hour of the show. From us to sound, I made it critical. I let you know, you just have to radical. Not on the radical, just to make it critical. The only part of your body that you can call it and choose. Get the power on the hour from the rebel in you. Yo, son, you need to know this. They can't handle it. They're gonna break it down. They're gonna break it down. Oh, rock along, come on, rock.
I'm sorry, I just had to let that play. You know what I'm saying? You don't hear that too often. Had to let that play. Had to let that rock out. And the only reason why I went to that was just for that last play. It's just that, like I said, I didn't see none of that. So I'm trying to figure out what made me play him earlier today. Because like I said, I was hearing him in the background, but I said, yo, he said something. I'm glad. I hope you got a little bit of energy from him. A little bit. But what made me play is because he said, I'm not voting. You're not getting my vote if you're not talking reparations. Justice reparations. Better housing reparations. Vote reparations. So they said they're going down there. I think today's, what's the, well, they already passed, the 15th pass. I want to know whatever happened with that. Someone got any intel on that? Someone got some intel on what took place the 15th with that movement, the DMV? That was the DMV, folks. I showed the flyer earlier today. This was the flyer that they had passed out. See this? See how big it is? Color, back and front. They're putting their money where their mouth is. You know what I'm saying? I didn't see no FBA, no slap, but I didn't see no FBA flyers, man. It kind of had me a little tight, right? Because I wanted to have some information. I would, put it out here and let it be seen, what they're saying. But this is coming from, that dude was a member, I believe, of this organization right there, Brothers of DMV. That's the only way we're gonna build. Guess what I did today? Guess what I did this week? I'm gonna go back to I'm gonna go back. I just want to, talk about what I did this week. It's my channel. I can talk about what I did. Right? Thank you. Let me tell you what I did. I'm so proud of myself. But that's why I want to tell you what I did. Those who been paying attention might know that. Hold on, let me get this piece of chicken on my feet. Those who might know me know that I kind of disappeared and I kind of got a little bit in trouble, and they had me down for like a couple of months. And so in that time frame, finally I started working out. I was doing mad push-ups, and I did about like 15,000 when I finally started doing it. I was so proud of myself because I never in my life did that many push-ups in my life. Since I've been home, dookie. But I'm so proud of myself because I started up again this week, and each one represents a 50 clip. So I did 250. I came back and did another 250. Then yesterday I did 250, but I did something bad, and I went against my own word, so I had to punish myself, and I did another 250. And then I did my other 250. So I did my, was it 1250? I did 1500, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, 1500. So I'm proud of myself. I did 1500. I did 1500 push-ups this week, and next week I'm doubling up, and I'm gonna add my dips, and then the following week after that, I'm gonna be up to 1500 for the week, for the day, 1500 a day, and then next week I'm going to pray that I can finally get to that 2000 for the everyday mark, and then I want to see the results for that little just straight push-ups. I'm gonna try and do my dips as well. I ain't gonna do as many dips, but I'm gonna do mad dips as well. And so just the push-ups and my dips, I'm gonna see the difference of my body. I'm gonna show y'all the before and after, but not today. But you can see a little. I see it in my hoodie though. I see it in my hoodie. I mean, I'm layered up. I don't play when it comes to cold. So I got my hoodie on, of course, because you gotta have your hoodie. So I got that my t-shirt on. But you take away, these things, I'm still looking, looking all right. Because it's war out there. Did you feel that energy from that soldier right there? Just imagine that running at you full speed and, you know what I'm saying? Ready to kill you. And it's your enemy. No. We gotta be ready. We gotta be ready. We gotta be ready, folks. We gotta be ready. Get your running on. Get your cardio on. If you a heavy drinker, heavy smoker, start cutting it. Start exercising. Because whether you like it or not, there are individuals who are putting their work in. They're putting their work in on these streets. And whether you like it or not, if they inflict something that we're not ready for, you gotta be ready. Even if you're not ready for it, you gotta be ready. Because this ain't something that we just started. This ain't we ain't in 2020s. I'm drinking soda. We didn't spark this. We didn't start it. We got finished. We have to finish it. And that's where we at right here. Let me just go back to this because I want to let you know. I just want to hear a couple more words from these gentlemen right here. Give me a little bit more time. Because it's blueprints here. You know what I'm saying? We just got followed. We have to follow the blueprint with a certain level of organizing aggression. It's not like we really got to change up the blueprint. We just got to add our swag to the motherfucker. Once we can get everybody to speak what I just said, then we will win. We don't have to change up the blueprint because the blueprint got us to where we at. We just got to add our swag to it. All right, Roy, what the hell are you talking about?
And in my estimation, this march is going to be a 100% outpouring of the disgust and distress of Black Americans and white liberals over the way the Congress has handled this bill.
I think that in any such demonstration as the march, which is planned, you will expect loud outpouring of cries and fears from many, many people who don't want it to take place, who are afraid that something might happen. But it seems to me that it reflects a lack of understanding of the nature of the times in which we are living. The fact that Negroes all over the country are concerned and are aroused and must express their feeling. They waited 100 years, and that's too long to wait.
But what about white friends and liberals who have worked in these organizations for many years, who now say, look, let's not go this fast. Let's not.
We don't have people like that. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
we don't.
Our telephone is ringing with white people who want to get into the march.
We don't judge our friends on the basis of the color of their skin. We judge them on the basis of the fact of whether or not they are willing to go all the way with us. If they are not willing to go all the way, then they are not friends of ours.
Now, we've said that these are interracial organizations, but you five gentlemen are Negroes. You are assuming the leadership. And you
Ringing with white people who want to get into the march.
We don't judge our friends on the basis of the color of their skin. We judge them on the basis of the fact of whether or not they are willing to go all the way with us. If they are not willing to go all the way, then they are not friends of ours.
Now we've.
All right, that's the rule. Damn it, farmers. That's a rule right there. Oh, man. That's a rule. All right? In this movement right here, if you're not willing to go all the way, you're not a friend. And then we're going to have to now start looking you and calling you the enemy. So don't get in it if you're not willing to go all the way. Like I said, I'm about to do my workout because war is here and we got to go all the way out. Go put that mob beat going out. You know what I'm saying? Put that on. I think I'm going to put that on. I'm gonna put that on the background. Yeah, we're gonna put that Mobb Deep shit in. Yep. Mobb. What the hell? I hate when the pop-ups be coming on when I be trying to type. Let's go. I want to hear this. So who want to hear this? Shout out to my mother effing dude Prodigy. And have.
Fight with the brass knuckles, swinging bells, catching niggas with the buck. Fuck going on? Like I ain't got nothing to live. Like as if you had guns for my kids. Fuck going on now? Word up, check it up, Yo, know the type of style of shit that rhymes my dick. Pop me a nigga quicker than the police. Leave more wounds than a whole room full of chicks. You running while I'm gunning, cause you a bitch. I heard niggas talking like they gon' dead mine. I got enough guns, we can make the headline. I'm from a place where the realest niggas get murdered, and the illest niggas try to avoid it. We can't call it, it's a cold world. One love, keep your heat on at all times and never freeze up. When the eyes blink, you can catch a homie attack. How you leaking all over the place. Watch how you speak and watch how you move through the streets. I got a mob of niggas with heat. We live for the squeeze when we think. Breathe was too late. Up, we fucked up and got laid to sleep. I'm doing that with big guns and sharp knives. Revolvers, cause automatic jam at the wrong time. Like fights with the brass knuckles. Swinging belts, catching niggas with the buckle. Now fuck doing that. Like I ain't got nothing to live. Like as if you had guns in my kids. Fuck doing that. Big checks and large faces, mansions, and my son to do the same for me. I'm going out like a nigga that ain't never had nothing. Fucking I ain't feeling fun, but I know I gotta go out like your neighbor still over me. You sling grill, you on top of the hills.
All areas, nigga.
Going out like a nigga, you just smacked his moms. In the cut, flat face in the car. We put it on everything that I love. Stand for, getting men up in the pub, so surviving the ball. Going out like a nigga with 6 days to living like a single parent, raising a kid. Now that's a fair. Going out like a nigga. But shit, touching this whip got more than necessary, done a nigga one did. Going down for my niggas, see this dad in my hand. Made a back and fuck up parts you didn't understand. Having straight at your time, real plans, but not really your man. Some niggas get brand. Going down with big guns and sharp knives, revolvers.
I just had to. I'm sorry. I just had to. But that nigga Farmers, like I say, sometimes you just gotta absorb and take the greatness out of whatever it is that you can get the greatness from. So those words made me feel that song. In that song, I had to deliver to you folks. So thank you, Prodigy. Thank you, Have It. Thank you, Farmers. Farmers, what did you just say? What the hell you just say? Repeat that.
We don't have people like that. I'm sorry. Our telephone is ringing with white people who want to get into the market.
We don't judge.
In these organizations for many years, who now say, look, let's not go this fast. Let's not.
We don't have people like that. I'm sorry. Our telephone is ringing with white people who want to get into the market.
We don't judge our friends on the basis of the color of their skin. We judge them on the basis of the fact of whether or not they are willing to go all the way with us. If they are not willing to go all the way, then they are not friends of ours.
Now, we've said that these are interracial organizations, but you five gentlemen are Negroes. You are assuming the leadership, and you are asking white liberals and white friends to go along with the Negro speaking for himself rather than speaking through white surrogates.
I would like to make this point because I think there is a misconception that any white people who happen to serve on your boards or committees are therefore automatically there to exercise control and restraint. This is not the experience of the Urban League. There are many white people who serve on our boards who are asking for more militancy. I speak for the National Urban League at their insistence, not at my demanding, because they feel that a Negro is best able to express the hopes and the longings of his people.
We ought to be clear that there is a desire on the part of Negroes for self-expression through leadership of civil rights organizations. This is important because Negroes have been denied that self-expression for so many years. But this does not mean, in any sense of the word, as far as I'm concerned, that white persons who are sincere cannot participate and cooperate.
Exactly.
And I think it's very important to have this participation. I think it would be very dangerous and even tragic if the struggle in the United States for civil rights degenerated to a racial struggle of blacks against whites, so to speak.
Amen.
It is a tension between justice and injustice, and we enlist consciences in the struggle. We appreciate the participation in this movement of white persons of goodwill, and we have many of them, fortunately, and I think the numbers growing every day, and this helps to keep the struggle on the level that it should be on.
As far as I can understand, you gentlemen, this is not a racist march. This is a march of aroused Americans who want to demonstrate and assume their rights to petition their
And they want
Congress
to witness.
and witness and support the president's civil rights legislation. The Attorney General would.
And now, folks, what I gathered from right there, it's probably what that white man gathered when he was 19. And he was witnessing this, watching on TV. Because he had TV. He's watching on television with his moms and his pops. He's being inspired. He didn't see what we saw or what they saw on the inside. See, him looking on the outside, looking in, like tuned into our lives, like wow. While we in our own lives bickering. Remember, we didn't have internet. So the history that we had, the knowledge and the history that we had was really, to me, more fictional. It was fake news. It was make believe. It was just out of frustration and anger. There's other groups looking at this panel of men talking, sounding distinguished, sounding eloquent, sound like gentlemen, not talking over each other, having respect for one another. And the niggas in everyone had the hate that I said earlier that we must exclude from this movement. And the hate itself developed this film that we've been following, or we've been watching, this fake movie, this fake reality of sellout. Now, yeah, selling out was always around. But I'm talking about this major bowling ball that we rolled. I believe that we start knocking each other down before we even had a chance to sell out. I think we knocked each other down before we even had a chance to blossom. And I say that humbly because I don't know. I didn't study enough to know. But what I gather is that the heart and intention was right. The thought pattern was right. To be honest, at that point in that time in life, is no different than the Black Lives Matter, no different than any march that we have. All hands on deck. So all hands be on deck, as we see in our modern day time, was as it was back then, because we was fighting an evil. And once you understand that the bigger picture is that it's not about we fighting a color, we are fighting an evil. And once you realize that we're fighting an evil, then you realize all hands will be needed on deck. Where's my water? I got my water too. Oh, damn it. I left my water in front of the stupid heater. All that time. Had ice cold water. Now I left in front of this heater, forgot it. Now it's warm. So with this right here, it's important for us to realize that these brothers had good intentions.
I seem to disagree with you in terms of his testimony. For Congress, he says that the most disturbing thing for Negroes is the public accommodation segregation.
The truth of the thing is that it's a vicious circle. Unless people are adequately educated, they can't possibly find good jobs. Unless people can find good jobs, they can't buy good housing, which puts them in good neighborhoods where they can get a good education. So instead of being one major thing, it's a group of things.
Yes, that's true, but it seems to me, of course, that the public accommodations matter, which is now being batted around in the Senate Commerce Committee, is the most abrasive and pervasive of the aspects of a Negro's life. Every time he steps out of his front door in the morning until he comes home at night, he runs the risk, and some of them don't run the risk, they run the certainty of this kind of denial and humiliation and mistreatment. And sometimes in the South, as you well know, in many subtle ways. You walk into a store and you're ahead of, you're the next one to be waited on, but 3 white people come up and they get waited on first. This is a matter that Negroes meet this. In many places they have to ride on the back of the bus. And they do want a Coca-Cola and can't get it. Now these seem small things, but then I think the Attorney General was talking about the things that rub people the wrong way and make them say, oh, let's get rid of it, you know.
And you know, there are other areas of life which is very subtle, but which are not even being covered in the bill. And then there's some pronounced ways. I'm just thinking of the fact that you drive through the South. In some states, you can't even stop at the restrooms, and this is humiliating to women, you know, and it's very,
of course, uncomfortable.
Well, it's very uncomfortable, but it's one of these little daily things. But I think there are 2 areas that should be covered, you know, and that's the question of the voting bill. I don't see why we can't have universal suffrage for all Negroes. I mean, I really don't see why it has to be just a 6th grade education level, because that's a device, and I think we were talking beforehand about how many people will be covered.
The Nonviolent Coordinating Committee is putting a great deal of its effort on voting, isn't it?
Yeah, well, we have a great program now, and I think in the Delta of Mississippi, but Roy might want to amplify on just how many people would be covered by a 6th grade education.
Well, the literacy test, you know, we agreed, well, we estimated, we couldn't, that not more than 100,000 Negroes would be added to the rolls under the literacy test. This is, Martin, you remarked on the number of people who didn't have a 6th grade education in one state. 58%, I think it was, in Louisiana.
He testified before the House and suggested universal suffrage. I mean, there's just no reason why a person who's not 21, he can't vote. He can go into the Army whether he can read or write. So why shouldn't he be able to vote?
And I'll leave it right there. That was in the 60s. And now, like I said, the title says, white people have your back. Now I'm going to go and share this one last clipping before I leave you folks. This is, like I said, with freestyle. I always mess up this brother's name. It makes me so mad. I hate messing up people's names. What is it? the video play.
This time they haven't yet claimed.
How many people know this brother? I met him in person as well. Spoke to him individually. Someone introduced me to him after he spoke. One of his head people out here. I was rolling him. I hate when I can't say people name. What is this brother name? O'Malley Chatelli. I say his name wrong. I know I'm saying his name wrong. I apologize. Uhuru though. But what made me bring this up is because I was looking at this the other, like a few months ago, and I was watching it, and never did I think I would like actually bring it up on what I observed. But I observed that even within the Uhuru movement, as you all know, there's a lot of white people that's joined the Uhuru movement. Tons of them, to a point where.
Us, we have some relationship with China, but that's to come, I'm sure, because China and Russia represent to them serious kinds of problems, but also black people represent a serious problem to the United States government and has done so historically. That's why Malcolm X is dead. That's why Martin Luther King is dead. Russians didn't do that. That's why more than 28 members of the Black Panther Party in 1968 alone were murdered. The Russians didn't do that. That's why this community and our people have been under threat. That's why a spy center is being developed right here in North St. Louis. Even as they're pushing black people out of our homes, gentrifying us and things like that, taking away our properties, created this entity that they call a land bank administration for the purpose of stealing property from black people legally. Even as they're doing that kind of thing, they're attacking those of us who are trying to defend this community and to bring economic development to this community. That's what we do. That's what we do here. That's what we've done historically. So when it comes to this issue about Russia and Ukraine, where Russia has spent, where the United States has, in this last budget offering that I saw, talked about more than $40 billion more that they've given to this entity that they call Ukraine, the entity that they put in power after overthrowing the legitimate government in Ukraine in 2014. We're supposed to have forgotten that, to put themselves closer to the border of Russia that they have declared to be some kind of adversary, though they haven't explained to us why it's an adversary, though I don't care why they would say that. The fact is that we are able to say that we are not pacifists. We are not pacifists at all. We believe that there's a difference in just wars and unjust wars, and we are opposed to unjust wars, and we support just wars. Unjust wars are those wars that try to colonize people, keep them under tyranny, bury them under oppression. And just wars are those wars that are fought to oppress people to liberate themselves. We don't just support Russia in this war against Ukraine. We support Palestine, even as the U.S. government and U.S. citizens are leaving this country every day, going to Palestine, that is murdering Palestinian Arabs on a daily basis. So don't tell us that we can't have friends that you don't like. Because the fact is, the friends that we have with people who will be opposed to murdering people in Palestine, murdering people in North St. Louis, murdering people in Afghanistan, murdering people in Syria, we would be opposed to them. And so anybody who would stand up for the liberation of those people, we're on their side. You don't have to be a Russian or anything like that. One. Second, yes, I have been to Russia, but I've also been to South Africa. I've been to Ghana. I've been to various other places in Africa. I've been to Nicaragua. I've been all kinds of places where oppressed people are organizing because black people need not to be isolated. And that's what this government would do. They would have us isolated, assuming that there is nothing that we can turn to except Joe Biden, who turned loose 100,000 policemen in the street with his omnibus crime bill that's probably killed Mike Brown. And the Russians didn't kill Mike Brown, by the way. Nobody said the Russian did that. That was an American domestic soldier that they called the police that killed Mike Brown. So you want me to hate Russians? And no, I don't hate Russians, but I hate those people who killed Mike Brown, and I hate the institutions that's responsible for that. So I wanted to say that. And to be clear about that, I'm not unabashedly a black, I'm an unabashedly a black man, an African that's committed to the liberation of black people, the African and all the other oppressed peoples on the planet Earth. And the United States has always historically been opposed to the liberation of oppressed people, opposed to freedom in Nicaragua, opposed to freedom in Afghanistan, opposed to freedom in South Africa. Mandela, from your perspective, at one time was a terrorist. Fidel Castro, how many times has the U.S. government tried to murder Fidel Castro? This is the reality that we're talking about, and so we are unabashedly on our own side. So I just want to say that in terms of what happened, let me just say, they actually sent a drone into this house. They said we were not charged with anything. That's what they said. They handcuffed me and my wife out here. They wanted me to sit on the curb while they were carrying this out, something that I refused to do. They wanted my wife to sit on the curb out here, that she refused to do. Only thing we do is fight for black people, black power. All you gotta do is walk through North St. Louis and you can see the changes that we've brought here as a party for black people. And the government is opposed to that, and that's why we are under attack, and also because they see us as pawns that they can use in this propaganda war against Russia. That's why black people who make this mistake of assuming that what's happening in Afghanistan or what's happening in Russia and Ukraine have nothing to do with us. Clearly it does have something to do with us. The United States government clearly says it has something to do with us. And what they have done also is tried to create a situation where there is the appearance that anybody, black people who oppose, who criticize what the United States government is doing to us must be the employ of Russia. Like somehow Russia killed Mike Brown. That somehow we needed the Russians to tell us that we were oppressed. That's a hell of a statement. It's a disgusting, slanderous statement that black people don't have enough sense to know who it is that's killing us, murdering us, and keeping us living in these conditions. And I've been to Russia, and I didn't see Russians living like black people live right here in North St. Louis. That's the reality. So I want to say that. My wife was here too. I don't know if you want to say anything about what happened. Yeah, I want to hear this. I want you to hear this from different people. And this house was not the only house attacked. They attacked our office in St. Petersburg, Florida, our headquarters there. They raided it. They stole materials from it, just like they stole from this house. They stole my phone. They stole my computer. They stole computers from other members of our organization. Cell phones, they have that. They stole that from us. They said that they had a warrant for it. They may have had a warrant for it, but they didn't show it to me. That's what I saw was a thief. Because thieves came in and used flashbang grenades to terrorize this entire community and stole some material from us under the color of law. It's a colonial law that we're looking at. So did you want to say anything?
Yeah, Uhuru, I just want to say that we were just sitting in the house at 5 a.m. in the morning talking like we normally talk. And the next thing we knew, we heard someone say, everyone at 4442 Redwood, come out with your hands up. So, you know, we're new to the city, so we're thinking some kind of flash flood, you know, because it's been flooding here. And then they said it again. And then we heard all these flash bombs go off. And, you know, the chairman says, come on, let's get out of here. So chairman went out first, and then I came out. As I was coming out, this big old drone met me coming down the stairs, you know, like it was going to attack me. And they handcuffed myself and the chairman and, you know, escorted us to the side of the road and started, you know, asking us questions, which we didn't answer.
In the house. So when that door, because when I walked out of the door, the door was open. Let me just say that.
Also, they would, you know, damaged the door, you know, to get in the other apartment next to us. So, you know, if we hadn't opened the door, everything would have been, you know, slammed.
The door, you can see the window was broken there. They put a border up that door there. But the reality is,
now the reason why I'm playing this video, I didn't set it up properly. I was trying to set it up and the lady was about to speak. But I just wanted to show you the strength of numbers of what I'm talking about when they say, with a question mark, white people have your back. Now, a person would say they will never have your back. And I would say, you know, you might be right. You right, yeah. But then I ask myself, are we saying this in hate? Or are we saying this with 100% facts? A lot of times we say things just in anger and hate. it's not really 100% fat, because all throughout time in history, white people been, not majority, not all, but a lot, have been having our backs. And it's time for us to utilize their energies, because they are given their energies to be utilized. And like Farmer said, are you are true and you're a friend if you're willing to go to the end. And that's all we have to do. We have to set it up where we can all go to the end of this whole mission. So I just, like I said, I just want the lady to come in and just show love, because that's what it's all about.
Is this. Even if they had a legitimate warrant, like they said, all they gotta do is knock on the door. What is a flash bomb? What is being out here terrorizing the entire community? Is something about a search warrant. It had nothing to do with the search warrant. It had to do with this game.
Oh shit! And yo, you know what? I chose this yo. I didn't even see it when I watched this video. I watched this video one time, and I just, because like I said, I was watching the video, then I seen the white lady. She came up and she spoke. I was like, oh shit, it's like that. Brother even bring the white people to the podium. And so when I was setting this up, I just remember, you know what? Let me bring him to the forefront as well, Omali Yashiteli. And so I was like, you know what? Let me bring him to the forefront, because I remember him bringing the white lady to the podium. But if you look in the background, look at the lady's shirt. Look at the lady's shirt in the background. This is a video I wanted to bring up, because this man brings up this white lady, and I just was bringing it to the, comparison, letting you guys know that, yo, I told you, white people have your back. This is the Uhuru movement. You bring the white lady to the podium, but the same white lady he's going to bring to the podium. Let me not waste no more time. I didn't even notice that shit. I didn't even notice until just right now. I was like, what is it on her shirt?
That they are playing to keep black people oppressed, and this ideological, this propaganda war that they're engaged in with Russia. And we're not going to be a part of it, and they're not going to keep us from fighting for our freedom. We got a black community conference that's scheduled for the 31st, for Sunday, 21st, the 31st, right here at Legacy.
And black people gonna come out, we're gonna be free.
And black people gonna come out, we're gonna be free. And there are not enough FBI agents on the planet Earth to stop the struggle of black people. We're gonna make that happen. We got a doula event happening right now, where we're training 20 black women to be doulas, because they kill our children, they close our hospitals down. Our babies are not able to be born safely. Black women are treated badly when they're pregnant. So we are solving that problem. That's what this government is attacking, because it doesn't want that to happen. They're not going to stop. They attacked our center and houses on the south side. There's a south.
I see the shirt. You see the shirt.
Solidarity center that we have on the south.
You see the shirt. You see the shirt. Like I say, it's later than what we think. It's later than what we think. The world wants to see us succeed, because that will take a lot of the pain, the agony, the suffering, stress that so much of the world have. A lot of the world they internalize our pain as well, folks. A lot of the world is internalizing our frustration. They're internalizing it so much they thinking it's theirs now. They becoming it. They're trying to find the woes of their lives and make it their blues, make it their hip hop. You know what I'm saying? So everyone's taking the struggle, and really, because it's still struggle in the world, but everyone's taking our swag of the struggle, our pain of the struggle, and internalizing it. So that's beautiful. We must run with that energy. The woman's shirt say exactly what I was saying, and I swear I was just using this video for one thing only, and that's because when I was watching this video before, I noticed that he brought this white lady up to the podium, and I didn't really listen too much what she said, because I was just scamming through and I was just listening to what he was saying. I was like, oh, word, they did all that? And then when he put her up, I was like, damn, he had her follow up after him. That just caught me off guard. But you know, look at her shirt. She's about it. What you gotta say, homie? What you gotta say? What the heck you gotta say? Run it to the mic.
Southside as well. Penny Hess is the chairwoman of the African People's Solidarity Committee that works under the leadership of the Black Revolution, the Black Power movement.
Uhuru, uhuru. Thank you, Chairman Omali Shatella.
That girl in the background is a distraction.
Solidarity Center that we have on the south side as well. I want to stop. I want to. They attack.
Now we, fellas. I mean, I don't even really want to bring it to the attention, but even as I'm just acknowledging this, once they move, there's a beautiful woman in the background, and I love women. Who is this woman?
Center and houses on the south side. There's a Solidarity Center that we have on the south side as well. Penny Hess is the chairwoman of the African People's Solidarity Committee that works under the leadership of the Black Revolution, the Black Power movement.
Uhuru, uhuru. Thank you, Chairman Omali Shatella and Deputy Chair Onis Zanea Shatella, the African People's Socialist Party. I want to say again, I am Penny Hess, chair of the African People's Solidarity Committee, the organization of white people formed by Chairman Omali Shatella and the African People's Socialist Party more than 40 years ago in 1976 to be solidarity, to be black power in white face behind enemy lines, to be able to go into the white community to tell the truth that the only reason that we have the Delmar divide, that we have the two Americas, that we have the colonialism inside this country is because it's built on the enslavement of African people, the kidnapping of African human beings, and forcing them to labor for free for our benefit for hundreds of years on land in which genocide was committed against the indigenous people that was stolen from them, that we live on today. That's the only reason that there's two Americas, that there are the colonizer and the colonized, the wealth and the poverty. That is the reason why. And I just want to say that we stand unconditionally in solidarity with the African People's Socialist Party, with the African working class, with African people all around the world to have their stolen resources back in the form of reparations, to have political and economic power over their lives, to have Africa, which belongs to African people everywhere, as we have learned from Chairman Omali Shatella, to be free and to have relationships with whomever supports them. This government does not support them. And I do want to unite with the indictment of the U.S. government, which is there to oppress African people, to colonize them, steal their resources, bring more wealth to white people every day in this city, in this country, and around the world. And I stand in solidarity with the freedom and liberation and reparations to African people. Our center, there is a Solidarity Center at 2654 Grabway near Jefferson. It is owned by the Black Star Industries and the African People's Socialist Party as a fund that we use and raise resources and organize out of there. I want to say that we have had tremendous support from white people. It's in a very well-traveled corridor there. So many people. We go door to door. We give out flyers. We're out in the Tower Grove Park and other places organizing with tremendous, overwhelming support from white people for the stand of reparations, for the Black Power movement, for the fact that the Black Power movement, which has built the mural, the basketball court, as all the things the chairman said, is the only positive thing happening in this city and in this country. We hear this over and over again and genuine support from the white community for the work and the stand of African people for freedom and liberation and independence. So I just want to say unity through reparations.
Yeah, I just wanted you to say what happened this morning when they came to your house and the solidarity.
Now look. Now I'm gonna pause. Yo, he let her do that whole long thing, and he said, "Yo, I want you to talk about what happened to your house." Okay. Her heart is so into, yo, y'all don't get it. Her heart is so into what she's into. While she's standing on that stage, while she got that t-shirt on, her personal world didn't even matter when the microphone's in front of her. Her solidarity was to the movement. Her allegiance was to that chairman. Her heart was right there with the people. And he's like, yo, homegirl, come back here, and I just wanted you to tell what happened to you. She's like, oh, okay. Respect to that woman. Respect to her.
They came to the South St. Louis in 2654. They took a battering ram. They also had drones. They brought out two people who live upstairs from the Solidarity Center, down also in handcuffs with assault rifles at their heads. And they took hours going through both the center, the public part, and their house. And they also came to our house in South St. Louis as well. They came at 5 a.m., broke down our door, broke the door, came in, searched everything, took our computers and phones, and yeah.
What is this about? You mentioned you traveled all over the
I'm gonna really get to that momentarily. I want
right back to
were
place.
you at the Solidarity Center?
Salute.
Go ahead, please. This is Justin Neville.
For real. Chairman, I just also want to express my unity with the statement that you gave and everything that Penny Hester said. And the Uhuru Solidarity Center, which is organizing for white reparations to African people under the leadership of the African People's Socialist Party, was, as was mentioned, attacked this morning as part of this FBI assault on the struggle of Black people for freedom and self-determination. They came in at 5 a.m. at the same time that they attacked this house and the other sites mentioned. And
simultaneously,
FBI as well as local police, county police, upwards of around 30 different officers broke through the front door of the apartment, which is upstairs at the Solidarity Center, with a battering ram, and put myself and the other person who lives there, who's also a part of the organization, in handcuffs, and had at least 6 or 7 assault rifles pointed at us when they brought us out of the building. Then they took 5.5 to 6 hours to ransack both the Solidarity Center downstairs and the apartment upstairs, and took computers, cell phones, hard drives, files, notebooks, and a whole long list of things. That's what happened.
So I want to say this. I want to ask Comrade Jesse and Comrade Zaki to say something. But they have accused us of taking money from Russia. But first of all, we have never taken a penny from the Russian government. But I'm not saying that because I'm morally opposed to taking money from the Russians or anybody else who wants to support the struggle for Black people. Because you have a government that just gave, at the last count I saw, $40 billion. $40 billion for Ukrainians and other agents coming from the United States and all over the so-called Western world to kill Russians. And there's no question about that. $40 billion. But I will tell you this. If you go up and down West Forest, you will see an extraordinary improvement that has occurred, not from Russian money, but from solidarity by people, from people who unite with the struggle for black people to have freedom. That's where that basketball court came down. The government didn't do that. The Russians didn't do that. Black people and our supporters opposed to colonialism helped to put that basketball court down there. The Russians didn't put that, didn't demolish those places that's scars on our community and put that first-rate event center there, a black community garden there. The Russians didn't do that. Black people and other solidarity people sent money, $5, $10, $50, $100, $1,000, $10,000 that came from people who believe in the freedom of black people in the United States. The United States government doesn't believe in the freedom of black people. That's why they raided this house. I want to go ahead and introduce you to Comrade Zaki Baruti. Zaki is the President General of the Universal People's African People's Organization.
Yeah. First of all, let me just say what happened today is a really continuation of the terrorism that this government has always perpetrated against black people and poor people since the founding of this country. We unite totally with all that Chairman O'Malley Yesateli has just laid out, especially as it relates to foreign policy. Let me also make mention historically in terms of the continuum of the constant terrorism of this government toward black people. Going back to the Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey, where they concocted false charges because he had, at that point, one of the largest movements to liberate our people. It goes back, as Chairman mentioned, when Dr. King was murdered, exactly 1 year from the date that he made a statement that the Vietnam was immoral. This is a statement to try to intimidate us, that we should not speak to foreign policy. We will continue to speak to foreign policy because, as the chairman mentioned, it impacts us. When you look at $40 billion that go to Ukraine, and you look at the harm that has been done to black folks, that could be our reparation.
Time the fuck out. Time out. Time out. I mean, with my mind, I'm thinking, like he said, you know, he's speaking to Russia. They get raided. We don't know much about this, and thank goodness for you two. But he's speaking to foreign policies. He's speaking to Russia. He's doing some old Dennis Rodman shit. Quietly, the U.S. government, like, yo, who the fuck, what the fuck you doing? You don't want Russia to be starting talking. See, yo, hold on, folks. Black people. Put your thinking caps on. Hold on. Let's talk to these people real quick, folks. Because I'm the ignorant one. You know, I'm not the intelligent one. Okay, I gotta put my thinking cap on. Where my D at? Which thinking cap I want to put on? Let me put on this thinking cap. Put this thinking cap on. Okay, folks. You got this brother. Check it out. You got this brother over here. Like I said, it's all pieces, folks. Piece. For all those folks who saying they the number one scholar, the number one this and that, if you ain't getting rated, if you ain't getting no cuffs on you, you ain't shit. But anyway, you got these people over here pushing these buttons. You got these people over here pushing these buttons. But these people over here, and like I said, I met this man when he was younger. I met him about almost 20 years ago, okay, folks? Like I met Dr. Sebi, okay? And for all you people out there who Met Umar, had Umar Keys. Me. Not only did I meet Omali, I hate saying this man's name, Yashatelli. But I was, like I said, I was introduced to him by one of his lieutenants, because I met one of his lieutenants. And we was actually bonded, just that one of his lieutenants was just a little loose cannon. And come to find out, he ended up losing he ended up losing his leg. Kind of pissed me off hearing that. Then I know that he was going through some withdrawal and everything, but I heard he's trying to get back into it. But damn, man. Wish, we as men could have kept a strong bond and could have helped each other and kept each other on the right track. But a lot of us is always going swaying and swaying and swaying, always dipping and diving. You know what I'm saying? But I don't want to get off topic. So I was introduced to this man by this young man. And this young man is actually from Florida, St. Petersburg. He was all part of that whole movement, all that. When they said they shot a helicopter out the sky. You know what I'm saying? They about it. They the militant part of this whole movement, folks. So he's moving differently. He's looking at foreign policy to get involved with our agenda. While you have a lot of people on the grounds here saying, we don't need nobody, we're going to do this ourselves, we're going to grow ourselves, we're going to build ourselves, we're going to start our own institution, we're going to teach our babies. Okay, all right. We're not on the trains by ourselves, we're not on the planes by ourselves, we're not on the boats, we ain't doing nothing by ourselves, but we're going to do this by ourselves. We're going to grow and build. Okay, cool, I'm with it. I told you I'm part of African Stockton, I'm with it. But if you ain't doing underneath down, brother, I'm not, I don't think you're really going to have much authority and power. Period. So, this man is over there kicking it with whatever foreign policies, foreign politicians he's kicking it with. He's kicking it with whatever. We don't know. We don't know what they doing. We don't know what he's doing. But it was enough for them to come back here and kick in his house door, flash bomb his house, kicking that white woman's shit, kicking the center in another person's house. All simultaneously. That was an operation, that was a sting they've been following, they've been paying attention for a minute. Why? As you see, that little white woman came up to that podium and she spoke so passionately about the loyalty of white people to the movement. She's the president. She's passionate. You get involved, you're going to get this passion. You're going to get that black passion. Not thug passion, that black passion. The white chocolate lady's delivering. You're going to get that. That's like, whoa. It was that type of energy that sparked them white men to go to war. It was that white chocolate love that got those men to go fight for us. Baby, you love me? Yes, Annabelle, I love you. Baby, you ain't gonna get any more of this if Charlie keep getting his ass whooped out there. I'm tired of seeing all this lynching. Okay, baby. It really, I think it was like a meeting amongst the women. They said, yo, we gonna, like that Spike Lee movie, they start holding out. So when white women start, really speaking up for these black folks, you gotta watch it. So we don't know what's going on with this man, this Uhuru movement. And most of you folks don't even know what the Uhuru movement is. They've been around for a long time. I was out there in New York City, out there with them on some of their newspapers. That's how we met. Because I was doing my thing, and they came through, they heard me doing my thing, talking, and they stopped. And they actually supported me. And then they showed me the paper. They told me what they doing. I listened to what they saying. Then we exchanged numbers. Then we met up like the next day. We went out on the trains together. I was helping them move the papers. They was helping me, but I realized, you know what I'm saying, I'm doing, you know, work with them, work for them. Like I said, they saw me how I was operating. They listened to my message. They was like, oh, that's one. Like I said, from that, and he introduced me to Molly. Because they were like, we got one. He's an orator too. He can speak. He's about it. He's on the trains. He's with the people. And all that's very important. Okay, folks? So I say all that. What I gathered from that conversation is that for this government to take notice to this Uhuru movement and these individuals, there's something that might be brewing up down this road. Reparations really might be a topic. Reparations might be a topic. And Ukraine receiving 40 billion plus. Would love to hear Putin speak about that and saying how dare America, who owes these black folks reparations, send that amount of money out. I would love to see him try and reverse that whole thing on. I would love to see Putin do that. Like the other gentleman say, you know, about Donald Trump being president, he said he loved it because he's making those white liberals so pissed the fuck off. I would love to see Putin turn that gates, turn the key, turn the mirror around, and say, "Yo, how dare you dish out this amount of money to these people when you owe those people this amount?" Thank y'all for your listening in, your support. The question is the answer. The answer to the question: white people have your back? Black man rise, original rebel. Rise up for these reparations. We're going to save our communities. We're going to save these babies. And we're going to save our mother effing selves. Peace.